Hey everybody, it is your Sam and I'm here with another video. Today I want to do the Authortube chronic illness and disability tag. I watched Megan's video, she is the one that created this tag, and then I watched Charlie's and a little bit of Tessa's. Thought I would do it too. So here we are. Question number 1. What chronic illness or disability do you have? Do you have multiple? So I have multiple, but here's the rub. I am my own worst enemy, so it's like I don't think I'm suffering enough to be labeled as a chronic illness or a disability. But according to the doctors and the professionals that I have seen, then I do have chronic illnesses and a disability. So it just, yeah. Anyway, my chronic illnesses are arthritis. I've had arthritis for a while now and it's kind of spread. I have asthma, which was first diagnosed as chronic bronchitis. And I have hypothyroidism, which is the low end of the spectrum. It's the low functioning thyroid. And hyperthyroidism is the high functioning thyroid. I have the low functioning thyroid with the hypothyroidism. I also have psoriasis. I have depression, anxiety, and migraines. The last 3 are what I usually end up talking the most about on my channel, so y'all probably know about those. Question number 2. Have you had your chronic illness or disability your whole life? No. As far as I know, the asthma and anxiety have been the longest that I've had. I remember having chronic bronchitis at a very young age. I always had problems breathing, and the chronic bronchitis was usually brought on because of my allergies, or so the doctor said. I was very little at this time, so I don't really quite remember the discussion all that much, and I don't have any of my medical records from that time. So I don't know if it was really diagnosed as asthma back then or if it was just the chronic bronchitis, because chronic bronchitis is the only diagnoses that I remember from being little. And the anxiety, nobody diagnosed me with at that young age, but looking back, I see the signs. So I should have been diagnosed with anxiety and depression back then, but I was not diagnosed with that until college, maybe high school. And the hypothyroidism I've had since 5 or 6 years ago, I think. And the arthritis, I was diagnosed when I was 13. It started in this hand, specifically this knuckle right here, and it has kind of spread from there. I now have it kind of pretty much all in this arm, the back of my neck, this shoulder a little bit, and my lower back and my feet. So that's really fun. Let's see, psoriasis I've had quite a while as well. I think that started back in high school. I've always had a spot on my upper thigh. I don't really remember when that started, but I was little, because I remember thinking it was my birthmark, but my birthmark just itched. So yeah, I was a weird kid. Migraines started, I think, in high school, because I was under a lot of stress, had a lot of deaths in the family and all that good stuff. A lot of stress whenever I was in high school, and the migraines started then. Question number 3. What healthy coping skills have you learned because of your disability? Well, I have learned with the anxiety and stuff like that, that a lot of your nerves come together right here under your nose, like on your upper lip. So sometimes whenever I'm having a panic episode or I feel my anxiety building, I press my finger to my upper lip, and sometimes that helps steady me because it brings the focus to one point on my body, to one thing, instead of the multitude that's going through my head. And that just helps. So it's kind of a distraction tactic, but at the same time, there's also kind of a medical reason as well. Another thing is concentrating on things that you can control instead of things that you cannot. So whenever I am having a panic episode or an anxiety episode, I look around me and I ask myself a series of questions that I can touch, see, hear, and smell. So I will ask myself to list like 3 things I can touch that feel different to the touch. It has to feel different. And then I ask myself 2 things that I can smell or something like that. Again, it's something to bring my focus on to my surroundings, something that is immediate to me, so that I can start focusing on things that I can control instead of things that I cannot. Because a lot of times I get lost in my head. With arthritis, I've learned to do some yoga, some stretches, and get like some things like that to try to help ease the pain a little bit and lessen the swelling that can occur with arthritis. And yeah, there are some creams and stuff that help every now and then. Oddly enough, Listerine helps because Listerine has eucalyptus in it. So sometimes I will rub my arthritis with Listerine, and that helps alleviate some of the pain, especially during the winter time, because that's when I hurt the most with it. Or after I have worked a lot, typed a lot, then my hands definitely and wrists definitely hurt a lot. And another thing, whenever my depression hits, one of my coping mechanisms is reading, going for a walk, or gaming. Depends on if it's raining or not. Depends on if I can handle gaming or handle holding a book or my phone or something like that. It just really depends on what I think will help at that point in time, because depression bouts and anxiety bouts can be a little bit different. As far as the thyroid goes and psoriasis, I haven't really found anything. It just go with what the doctors say pretty much, and that's it. Question number 4. Do you apply your experiences to your writing? Yes. I've had several characters have depression. I've had a few have anxiety. I've had a few that have arthritis as well. I mean, it's just, again, I still feel like my chronic illnesses are not important. So, yeah, I feel like they're normal, that everybody has them and everybody deals with them better than I do. So, there you go. Question number 5. How does your chronic illness or disability alter your writing routine? The arthritis, the migraines, the depression, and the anxiety are the ones that tend to alter my writing the most, my routines the most. If I'm suffering from a migraine, I usually cannot write at all. I'm usually curled up in a ball somewhere, hoping that I'm not dying. And the depression and anxiety, sometimes writing helps, other times writing puts more stress on me because I feel like I have to get it done, and that's what I'm stressing about. It depends again. Arthritis can definitely put a halt or slow me down while writing. I have used diction services, and sometimes my accent is detrimental to that, but it does help. So there's that. The depression and anxiety and migraines are usually what most affects my writing routine, and I just try to work around it. I don't make concrete goals. I don't set concrete deadlines. I have flexible deadlines and I have flexible goals. And if I meet them, that's great. If I don't, I try not to stress about it. Question number 6. How does it impact your writing style, topics, characters, etc.? I don't think it's really affected my writing style. My writing style hasn't really changed all that much over the years. I mean, I've gotten better, I think. It's just the verbiage I use and like sentence structures and stuff, the variations in sentences, I've always used those, so my style has pretty much stayed the same from what I can tell. And then like topics, like this video, I tend to talk a little bit more about the disabilities or illnesses. I do write characters more with depression and anxiety and suffering from migraines and arthritis more than I would back then. Number 7. What about your chronic illness or disability has surprised you? The rapidness that it occurs. I didn't think my arthritis would spread this quickly. I thought it would be a little bit more for the long haul. I didn't think that my whole arm would be affected by now, but it is. And as far as the psoriasis goes, where it shows up kind of surprises me, and the duration of the psoriasis that is here at the back of my neck has surprised me because it's been there for several years. I would say at least 15 years, give or take, maybe 12, somewhere around in there. And the way my anxiety shifts, the way triggers can change slightly, also kind of surprises me, but it doesn't at the same time. Does that make any sense? Number 8. How did your family react? They didn't really. My family is they ask a lot of questions and then they try to help offer solutions and try to help in the best way they can, for the most part. It's just something that they kind of shrug off and deal with. But on the same hand, they read articles and medical books, and they show me those articles and medical books, especially with like the migraines. They are understanding, at least, and they try to be helpful. Question number 9. What do you celebrate about your chronic illness or disability? I celebrate the good days. If there is ever a day where I feel good, I try to make the best of it. If there's ever a day where I'm not in as much pain as the last one, I try to make the best of it. And that's it. You have to go moment by moment, day by day. Also, the community. Whenever you start talking about anxiety or depression, especially, or suffering from migraines, there is always somebody there that can relate to you, and the camaraderie has always been impressive to me and something that I enjoy because I like learning new tips and tricks. I like learning new ways to cope, and I like sharing my experience as well, and hopefully teaching some more tips and tricks and ways to cope to them too, if they haven't tried it before. And the last question number 10. What's your favorite form of self-care? I guess reading and watching my favorite videos over and over again, my favorite films over and over again, like Pride and Prejudice or Cruella now is becoming one of my favorites. So anytime where I can relax and just be, that's celebrating myself, or that's kind of self-care to me. Other than that, I don't really do much self-care. I try to go for a walk because, one, that gives me sunlight, which helps with the psoriasis sometimes. Other times it aggravates it, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. But sunlight does help with depression, and sunlight does help with arthritis every now and then too. So yeah, there you go. Self-care. So if you have a chronic illness or disability, consider yourself tagged. I don't want to particularly name anybody because I hate doing that during most of these tag videos because it's one of my insecurities. So thank you, Megan, for coming up with this tag, and thank you, Charlie and Tessa, for going ahead and doing the tag, and Annual for mentioning it. It kind of gave me the strength to do this too, even though I still feel like my chronic illnesses are not that important. As always, be kind to one another, stay safe, keep writing, and keep being creative, and I will see you next time.